Last summer, I went on a trip to the Dominican Republic as a part of this program called Lindos Sueños. It is run by the Red Sox Foundation, and they take 10 kids from the U.S. and there are 10 kids from the Dominican that they choose. And we go down and we go to the village that's right next to the Dominican Academy down there. We went to the Red Sox Dominican Academy, and the town over village is called El Mamon. And we originally it started out as they were building baseball fields, but they would go back and see that they were sort of beat up after the year and they couldn't really take care of them. So I think it was like 5-6 years ago they turned into building houses is what the program was. And so we went down all together, 10 kids. I had never met them before, and 8 of us were from Massachusetts, 1 was from Rhode Island, and 1 was from Texas. And so we go down there, and it's so hot. It's the summer, so it's hot up here, but it was even hotter down there. And the first day that we're actually down there after the flight, we go and we see the village, and we look at the houses that we're going to be fixing up. And so, like, I had been on mission trips before. I'd been on one in Mississippi and one in Montana, and you sort of see the poverty, but I hadn't really seen anything like this before. And you see on the commercials for the donate to this charity and everything, but it's totally different when you go and see it. So this is one of the houses that we were fixing up.
Whoa. What's going on?
That's one of the houses. This is the same house, and so you can see everything is just completely sheet metal. And you walk inside, that's the inside of it, and you're ducking as you walk in, because if you stand up all the way, you're going to hit your head on the top of it. And it's just, there's nowhere to put anything, and there was a mother and a family, and I think it was either her 2 or 3 kids were living in this house that was probably like no bigger than from where I'm standing to probably Cassidy and then over to Jake was their whole house. And so it would rain, it would leak, and it was, whenever it would rain, she had to go and stay at someone else's house. And then there was also this house, which was, it was a good shelter because it was all completely made out of sheet metal, but there were no windows, so it was an oven during the summer. It would heat up really hot, and our son had gotten sick as a result of it. So these are the 2 houses that we were fixing up. And that's the first house, and that's what it looked like afterwards once we were done. And then that's the house that I was working on, and that's what it looks like once we had finished up. So that first day we went down and we saw these houses, and then we got to go, and this is sort of the highlight of the trip for me, was we got to walk around the village. And I guess the village looks forward to it every year, and all these kids were following us around. And I said, and we all said, that the hardest work we did the whole time was carrying the kids around on our backs, because we're walking around the whole village and you have these small little kids walking around, you have them up on your shoulders and everything, and you let them down after a while because you get so tired, and then 5 minutes later they'd be right back at you, go, mi caballo, which means my horse. And so they'd be running around looking for you. And so we got to walk around the village and meet some of the people there. We got to see the baseball field that they have in the village and just meet some of the kids that were there. And they were all really cute, really nice, and they would come and sometimes they would help us. They'd come help saw something or paint the house. And that's Ken Nigro. He used to write for the Baltimore Sun. He was an old journalist. And so it was really great to see that, and just to like really interact with the community, because you'd see if we were down there living like that, like with what we have here, we'd not feel great at all. But all these kids are, like, he doesn't look very happy, but in most cases the kids are really happy. They're playing baseball or playing marbles, whatever it is that they can do to occupy their time. And then the second day they had to tear down the whole houses and everything, so we went to the Pedro Martinez Foundation down there, so that's not too far. Obviously Pedro's in the Dominican, and got to play basketball. Some of the kids ball up with them, and these are all kids that, I mean, they're obviously don't have a lot of money, so this is where they get to come and have fun. And that girl was on my team, the girl in the red shirt, and we'd break them in teams of 3, and we'd sort of teach them how to play basketball, and we'd play little one-on-one games. And then eventually after that we went and we put on a clinic for about 200 kids. And that was really cool because even though we didn't speak Spanish very well, I mean, there were 2 kids from 2 or 3 of us from the U.S. that spoke fluent Spanish, but most of us didn't. So we'd sort of try to explain to them what we were saying. So they'd throw something hard, and you say, "Oh, they're throwing fire," say "fuego," and one kid, when someone throws hard in the U.S., they'd say gas. They throw gas here. So one kid in Spanish, gasolina. So the one kid started saying every time someone threw hard, they say, "Ah, gasolina." So then all the kids would start calling him, "Hey, gasolina, gasolina." And so they'd call across the field from him, "Go, gasolina." And so they would go and they'd work, and it was really great to see the kids there. And then of course we started building the houses and putting the house that I was working on. We got up all of our walls in one day, and we can't put up anything nice like sheetrock. We can only do what they have down there, so it's just all wood and nails. And it started out fine when it was low, but the problem was the boards had to overlap, so you'd be like holding them up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Might want to turn.
Let's turn on the.
It's okay. No, it's okay, honey. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm just.
It's okay.
And so we would turn on we would go and you'd sort of like bang in a little nail to hold up a board, and then you'd be holding it, but the problem was when you got it really high, you couldn't hold it up with your hand. So you like hold it up with one hammer, start the nail with another hammer, and like be banging it in. And we didn't have any ladders. The one ladder we had, the guy was using to build the roof. So we started just sort of stacking cinder blocks, and we only used 2 at that time. But the real fun started when we started painting, because you'd paint and the wood was just bone dry. So you'd paint and you'd paint a paintbrush, and it would cover like that much area. So it took forever to paint the whole house. And again, the bottom half was the easy part. But as soon as you started getting up higher, it's like, all right, well, I have 1 cinder block, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so you're like up there, you have like one hand on the house behind you, you have one hand painting, and then you have like the paint in between you and the house, like balancing act, trying to get everything there that's going on. And so after a while, we finally got the whole house painted, and the one ladder that we had, I was up top trying to paint everything, and you're like leaning over, trying not to break the ladder, and you're leaning way off. And so I was walking down one time and I broke the bottom 2 rungs, so then they told me that I was too heavy to stay on the ladder. And they got one of the smaller kids to come and do all the work for 2 of the smaller kids to get up on the ladder for us. And so it was really great to be with it, because obviously us that spoke English were fine, but seeing how we worked together, even though we didn't speak the same language, it was really great. And I mean, you go and you say like, clavo is nail, martillo is hammer. So you'd hear, clavo, yo necesito clavos. And so you go and you run and get a pile of nails for them. And I mean, the communication is just, you wouldn't think it would work out, but it worked so well with all of us. And then of course, we got to play baseball down there at the Red Sox Academy, which is where like a lot, like Yohan Moncada, I think, who's one of the top Sox prospects, went down there. And we got to play baseball on the fields down there, which is where I'm sure a lot of the Red Sox players have played at one point or another. And so we got to play down there, and the fields were perfect. They were so nice, and that was sort of like the highlight. Another highlight of the trip was after this hard day's work, you get to come back to the field, and you get to just play baseball with all these kids, and that's sort of the common language between us was, even if you didn't speak it, you could easily communicate with them. You can easily understand what everything's doing, because you don't need to know how to speak the language to know, oh, he's pulling the ball every single at bat, move over, he's throwing 95, whatever it is. And so, I mean, that was really the great thing about it. And I think that this trip was so special for me, because it really lets you see and communicate how, even though you don't speak the same language, you can still understand each other and still really get along. And then as sort of a payoff for all the hard work we did, we got to come to Fenway. And so we got a private tour of Fenway, and then we were also on the field for a ceremony. Let's see if I can. So we got to come out, like we were out on the Monster, we were out on the field, we got to meet a whole bunch of players.
David Ortiz.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bunch of players came over and signed for us. Robbie Ross Jr., Paulo Sandoval, we got to meet Koji Uehara, some are with us. Here's Ortiz. And
Is he a nice guy?
Yeah, he was really nice. And it was great because obviously he's from the Dominican. He was from a village really close to there too, so he loves it. The Lino Sueños Twitter account, he tweets at it sometimes. Joey Bats, Jose Bautista tweets at us sometimes, and so you go through. Actually, Robinson Cano is from the village, like actually right next to ours, and we were playing the Mariners that day, so we got to meet Robinson Cano too. He came over and talked to us. We got to go up with the Monster, which was really great. So it was awesome, sort of a payoff for all the hard work that we did in the Red Sox for us. So
Really cool. Very nice.
Great.